explain about microstrip and patch antenna. Actually, on that I have simulated and fabricated my this circularly polarized rectangular patch antenna. So in this paper, I will show you the uses of circular polarization in rectangular microstrip antenna on using the meta surface, which increases and improves the basic antenna characteristics. Basic antenna characteristics are the gain, the return loss, on bandwidth, etc. So use of mirror surface in the design antenna enhances gain and helps in the suppressing surface waves. So the design fabricated and I am designed here a fabricated antenna with a split ring resonator, and it will provide circular polarization and it will provide a reconfigurable property also in C-band. So before that, I will explain my microstrip patch antenna. What is that? It has a radiating patch on one side of dielectric substrate, which has a ground plane on the other side. The patch is generally made of conducting material such as copper or gold, and it can take any possible shape. The radiating patch and the feed lines are usually photo etched on the dielectric substrate. This is the my patch. Here my cursor is showing, and here to which way I am saying rectangular patch, and this is my dielectric substrate. Now beyond that, this is the ground plane from where I will apply my feed for the transmitting power. Now, why we are using microstrip antennas? Because of its very beautiful features. It is very low profile, and it can even be conformal and flexible to conform to a surface. It is easy to fabricate using etching and photolithography techniques. Easy to feed, coaxial cable, coaxial feed, microstrip line feed. Easy to incorporate with other microstrip circuit elements and integrate into systems. Patterns are somewhat hemispherical, with a moderate directivity, about 6 to 8 dB. Easy to use in an array to increase the directivity. So just to design a patch, we have to calculate the length and width for that radiating patch. So there are some basic formulas to calculate width and length of the patch. These are the formulas. Before that, we have to decide about which resonating frequency my antenna will radiate. So this is the one radiating frequency I have selected here, 4.45 gigahertz, for which we can calculate the required length and width of my patch antenna. So after that, when the radiation will start due to fringing effect, there will be a effective permittivity. For that, there is a formula. Again, means from these formula, I will be able to calculate the length and width of my rectangular patch antenna. So in this paper, I have shown the circular polarization from the rectangular patch antenna. So before that, I will explain what is circular polarization. Circular polarization means my antenna will radiate in all the direction. Omnidirection means and there is no problem of line of sight for the transmitter and receiver. From the circular polarization, the line of sight problem will be removed. Means my antenna will radiate in all the direction equally. So my circular polarization, it may be of two types: RS, right-handed circular polarization, or left-handed. Right-handed means my electromagnetic wave will radiate in the right direction, and left-handed circular polarization means all the electromagnetic waves will propagate in the anti-clockwise, left or anti-clockwise direction. So this is the, you can see in this diagram, these are the electromagnetic waves, which is if it is traveling in the clockwise direction, we will say that my antenna is showing right-handed circular polarization. If it is traveling in the anti-clockwise direction, I will say that my antenna is LSCP, left-handed circular polarized. So this is my antenna, which I have designed and fabricated with splint ring resonator on the meta surface substrate over the microstrip rectangular patch antenna for the application of wireless communication system. So this annular ring resonator antenna is the prime element which through which I have achieved circular polarization. It will give the wider bandwidth and the optimized return loss. In the result, I will show you here. It will showing the circular polarization. Circular polarization means the axial ratio it is showing nearby 1 dB, and I have measured my gain and return loss through this vector HP at 150 C vector network analyzer VNA. And result I will show you. My antenna will resonate at two frequencies, means it is showing 18 dB minus 18 dB return loss at 4.85 gigahertz, and very good return loss minus 40 dB at 6.775 gigahertz. So I can say that my this antenna is giving reconfigurable property also. So this is my circularly polarized antenna. You can see here, which I have simulated. This is a simulated design, and this is the fabricated one. And these are the parameter which I have selected for the simulation. The loss tangent were 0.0024. Dielectric constant is 4.2, and these are the dimensions. Dielectric layer substrate, metasurface layer substrate is 1.6 mm. These are the patch dimensions. And these are the simulated results. This is the gain results, which is showing the 4.54 dB gain at 4.85 gigahertz frequency, and 5.79 dB gain at 6.775 gigahertz, which is very good gain. And from these results, I am getting a wider bandwidth nearby 100 megahertz. So this is the this my fabricated antenna is operating in C band from 3 to 8 gigahertz, and 3 to 8 gigahertz it is showing circular polarization. These are the results: minus 18 dB at 4.85 gigahertz, minus 40 dB at 6.775 gigahertz. These are the gain which I have shown you earlier in my earlier slide. And these are the at two frequencies it is operating, giving the good return loss and gain. So I can say that it is reconfigurable also. This is the graph for return loss for antenna operating at the rate 6.775 and 4.85 gigahertz. The red line shows the simulated result, measured results, and the blue dash line showing my simulated results. So the red line in the red line here I am getting minus 40 dB loss, the 40 dB return loss for at the rate 6.775 gigahertz, and minus 18 dB return loss at the frequency of 4.85 gigahertz. So I am saying my this antenna is operating at C band. So these are the conclusions. I can use my this prototype metal surface based microstrip patch antenna for wireless communication in 5G and 6G ranges, in healthcare system also. So, and you can see there the results are very good, as return loss is very good, above minus 10 dB. If I am getting the result minus 14 dB and minus 40 dB, so this is very good return loss and very good gain. And axial ratio is perfectly I am getting, it is showing circular polarization is C band, and compared and simulated results are at the rate 6.75 gigahertz frequency. So just the circular polarization is perfect, return loss is perfect. And what is the future scope is still in progress. The same design here I am showing, I will use in the array type, means the same I will create another meta surface above the design. I will use this annual ring resonator in the means I will create I will use this design in the array type, in the matrix form, to improve the gain and to improve the return loss. And these are my references.
Yes, please tell me.
Okay, sir. These are contents of my project. So the main reason for choosing this project is, as we know, breast cancer is the second most disease. 80% of 80 to 90% are cancer deathful diseases. 14% of the women in India are being affected due to this cancer. Due to unaware of this cancer, they are not getting proper treatment. So earlier, so our aim is to detect the breast cancer in earlier stages. Generally, for a radiologist to detect whether the cancer is present, he takes 1 week. So everything has been automated nowadays. We want to detect, so by training a model, we can detect breast cancer. So abstract, we are using ensemble classifiers and also segmentation. Before segmentation, we are performing pre-processing. The reason for using pre-processing is to remove the unwanted objects that are present. As we know, a mammogram consists of label annotations. While processing that mammogram, we don't need that. To remove all the unwanted things, we need pre-processing. So our project is divided into two categories. One is classification of breast cancer, and next segmentation of breast cancer. Why we need to segment is that, so by segmenting we can exactly find the location of the tumor present. Next, this is the block diagram. We are gonna import dataset from Viscon dataset provided by Viscon Hospital. So we are dividing the data into training data and testing one. We are using ensemble methods, which are a part of a machine learning algorithms, comes under supervised learning. Here we have chosen supervised learning because we have a labeled set of data. And next, the output from all this, in upcoming slide we can understand clearly about each classifier. So why ensemble methods? Ensemble method is nothing but combining of different classifiers. So these ensemble methods are divided into two types, bagging and boosting. In bagging, same type classifiers has been combined, whereas in boosting, different classifiers are combined and making it a single model. What is the role of these ensemble methods in breast cancer? So as we know, breast cancer is a complex device. Many features has to be taken into consideration while to decide whether cancer has present or not. So we have machine learning algorithms, like support vector mission, logistic regression. Every classifier has its own ability. We are taking all that advantages and we are making it a single model. So boosting algorithms. In this boosting algorithms, as I said, we'll combine different algorithms. In this boosting algorithms are further classified into, and this is the process of boosting process. First, the data which the original data will take, and our classifier will classify the data. The data which our classifier cannot be classified has, which means the leftover data will again be processed. Like this, the process will continues until we get a strong classifier. Uh, Boosting algorithms are further classified into three types: extreme gradient boosting, adaptive boosting, and light GBM. Extreme gradient boosting is a strong boosting algorithm, so it can handle large amount of data set. The main reason, and also it avoid overfitting. The main reason for you using this XGBoost is execution speed and model performance will be helpful. So ADA boost means adaptive boosting. This will combine all the weak classifiers and make it as a single strong classifier. And this is less prone to overfitting. And light GBM means light gradient boosting mission. The most used algorithm is light GBM because it has good memory management and it can handle large amount of data. So faster training speed and higher efficiency. So how we gonna do? First, we'll classify whether the cancer is benign or malignant. So in breast cancer is divided into two types, benign and malignant. This benign is a non-cancerous one, so there will be no harmful about this. And malignant is a cancerous one, which will spread all over the body and it will affect parts. By using these three algorithms, we gonna design a model for breast cancer detection. My friend will continue.
Good afternoon to one and all. This is Jayant, and as my co-author explained, my project is classified into two types. One is classification, and another one is segmentation. Why we need classification means because there are two types of tumors, so we have to classify whether the tumor comes under which one, like benign or malignant. So after classifying, benign or malignant, then then we will go for segmentation. For segmentation, we will use like a deep learning algorithms. In deep learning, there are many classifiers like UNet, AUNet, and Google Net. There are many nets are there, but UNet is mostly used for medical images. So we have taken UNet, and unit is having 23 layers of architecture. Next slide. In 23 layers, first, why it is called as unit means it is shaped as unit, so it is named as unit architecture. And the first down process is called as downsampling. Why downsampling occurs means, first the features will extract from images, like the all unnecessary parts are removed by downsampling, and then we will apply upsampling. And downsampling process is also known as constructive method, and upsampling is called as expansive method. So based on these architecture, the features are extracted from the ultrasound images. Next. Next slide. And we implemented segmentation in Jupyter Notebook, based on Anaconda Navigator. We used 4 packages here. One is NumPy. We all know that these are the common packages which are used in Jupyter Notebook. NumPy is useful for converting images into arrays. For every algorithm, arrays are very important. So here we will convert the images into NumPy, and then we will go for pandas. The pandas package will do here the gathering the data from dataset, which my friend already mentioned is a Viscon dataset, and we will extract the images from the dataset. And OpenCV package is useful for displaying the images which are there, which are present, which are executed by our algorithm. And TensorFlow package is used for executing the algorithms. These four packages are very crucial executing in segmentation process. Next slide. Next slide. For classification, we used a CSV file, and in CSV file there are 32 parameters. Like one is radius, and another one is brightness, and these parameters differentiate the tumor. For example, how the tumor radius, and another one density. We can classify simply based on these parameters. If the tumor is soft, then it will comes under the benign. If the tumor is very hard, then it comes under malignant. So based on these parameters, we can simply classify all whether the tumor comes under benign or malignant. And the down photo represents the Jupyter cell, which executes the Viscon dataset to load the data. And these are the parameters which we can't see in previous slide, like a diagnosis, radius, texture. Based on these parameters, we can simply classify. Yes. Next slide. Next slide. Go to segmentation. Um, so in classification, we said that we will classify whether the patient details comes under benign or malignant. Here we can see the pie chart. In pie chart, we gave nearly 500 patient details. In 500, our algorithm classified how many patients. Nearly 37 patients comes under malignant, which are the cancerous tumor. So we have to furtherly go for treatment. We simply we can say from this pie chart how many patients are there, how many patients comes under malignant, and remaining comes under benign. So benign is a non-cancerous tumor and it will doesn't grow, so we can leave the benign tumor. But while comes to malignant, we have to go for further treatment. And the above shell represents one how the data is loaded and how the data is classified. This is the Jupyter cell which we executed. And next cell, next slide. This is correlation matrix. We have 32 parameters as we said in previous slide, um, like radius, parameter, texture, density, all these things. But considering all 32 parameters is a waste of time in training model. For example, there are in 32 we only 28 or 27 parameters is used, and remaining 20, remaining 5 parameters is not important for classification. Next slide. Yes, this is the accuracy level which we got while executing extreme gradient boosting. These boosting techniques improve the accuracy level compared to support vector, mission, random forest, and decision tree. Boosting process is useful for not it is not useful for improving accuracy. It also improves our area under curve and remaining parameters also. And this is the output which we have got. And adaptive boosting. Compared to three algorithms, we have got highest accuracy in light GBM uh, classifier. And here we can see the accuracy level is 0.99. As next slide. As compared to we compared with this is in segmenting the tumor, we can see that first image comes under ultrasound image, and third picture actual mask. Actual mask means uh, which was the radiologist segmented the tumor from ultrasound images. And middle predicted mask means the mask which was predicted by our algorithms. So we kept here comparison, we kept here image for comparison. The actual mask and predicted mask is very similar. We can see here. We kept the two images for comparison. How the algorithm is uh, select, how the algorithm is nearly comparing. There are many methods like data augmentation and transfer learning, but compared to all these uh, techniques, unit is best for segmenting the cancer. Conclusion. As here we can see that conclusion, mainly the classification is done by boosting algorithms, not going for supervised. These three techniques also comes under supervised learning, but in supervised learning, uh, these three boosting algorithms improves a lot. Yes, thank you for this is the conclusion. And next slide. And these are the references which are helpful for our research.
Good afternoon, everyone. My topic is a review on effect of blended learning on student satisfaction achievement. As I'm an educator, so I'm working on an education only. As we have seen during the COVID time, online studies has been started suddenly. So blended learning is just a method in which we blend the traditional learning with the online learning processes, and many new technologies has been involved after the COVID-19, and I have worked upon it after that only. Blended learning is just an enhancing a student satisfaction achievement, and many students have found success with blended learning and means as an instructional strategy. This is an introduction part. Blended learning has evolved into an umbrella concept. Blended learning is also used to define other blends, such as mixing multiple learning technologies, pedagogical practices, and technologies. And it is just not an online or face-to-face instructions. In the schools also, we have seen that online learning has been started with the form of projectors. All the books and each and everything is engaged with and new technologies has been involved with the education. So this is learning upon that only. And the different methods I will just show just a second. There are different types of blended learning model. The flipped classroom model. In the flipped classroom model, we see the educators with the opportunity to promote students as they put into practices the principles they have learned on their own, and to support the education of educational practices. A mixed learning environment allowed for the possibility of in-person activities guided by the teacher to coexist with the individual study that take place at home through the use of online courses and the video lectures. The next model is the FLAX model. This is a self-paced student-driven program based on the book learning in the digital age. FLAX models have initially intended to aid returning students who had not finished their high school degrees, where educators design opportunities to learn for their pupil and support their development as necessary individual learners continue through models on their own. The next model is enriched virtual model. This approach is very much like the flipped classroom method. The majority of the students' education take place online. They must also attend in-person meetings with the instructor. So these are the different types of models available in my PPT. Um, the next is the individual rotation model. Different models has been involved with the blended learning, and these are some benefits connected with the blended learning for students. Blended learning programs provide a safer learning environment. A secure learning environment can be created in educational institutions for allowing students to complete a significant portion of their assigned classwork at home and limiting the number of in-person attendance required for a few times per most. Because there are fewer students on school grounds at given a time, education institutions are better able to practice social disassociating and ensure that common areas are thoroughly cleaned and between the classes. The next benefit is students are more engaged in blended learning effects. Students have greater control over their own education because they can see the virtual lectures at their home also. They can do the worksheets and assignments virtually online cases also. So they have more work with the online practices. Effects of blended learning on students affecting elementary schooling is extremely important to both the individual life and the life of society. Therefore, it is a possibility for every parent and a government to provide children with the education through the primary level. In the life of man, it fulfills three important roles. It provides him with the fundamental groundwork for learning the fundamental subject. It helps him to gain knowledge about the surrounding and society. And it also helps the performing his civic duties and taking responsibility or action within local community by engaging a variety of activity. These are some discussions happen after the flipped classroom approach in which students learn theory remotely and they practice what they have learned at home during in-practice classroom teaching with instructor present to assist them. And the conclusion is blended learning provides students with the opportunity to avoid large class sizes while sitting accommodating their classwork into their busy schedule. Both students and educators have a chance to use digital tools in blended classroom, which significantly improves the quality of learning experience for everyone involved. This is one of the most significant advantage of this method. On the other hand, if it is not implemented properly, blended learning can be more of a problem than a solution. It is not enough for there to interaction between the students and a teacher in order to be successful. So it is like important traditional method with the new technologies. So it should be used properly with the proper amount of online and offline learning. These are the references which I have taken from different authors. Thank you.
This is Shifran. Can I present after Surya, ma'am?
Yeah, after Soraya, you can go ahead. Yeah, can you present Soraya?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, please go ahead.
The title of my paper is Acacia species as a source of phenolic compounds, and it is part of my PhD work. So Acacia is an invasive species that occupies extensive areas in Portugal, compromising the natural ecosystems of certain regions, thus to learn fragmentation and loss of biodiversity. Scientific communities focus in obtaining new application for these species or identify some compounds or for industries with biorefinery perspective. So the aim of the work has to evaluate the phenolics and the flavonoids compounds found in the alcoholic extracts in flowers and pods of the following acacia species: Acacia dialbata, Acacia retinoides, and Acacia pignata. The different parts of the acacia plants are lyophilized and frozen at 18 degrees Celsius. The extraction is performed from 10 grams of lyophilized acacia sample with 100 millimeters of ethanol on an orbital plaque for 24 hours. After filtration, the extracts are centrifuged and concentrating using a rotating evaporation. So liquid chromatographic is used, mainly HPLC liquid mass cutoff, and spectroscopy for Raman and NIR. We get into the results part. In the image, we can see the representative base peak chromatograph profile negative and positive in mode from extract of Acacia dialbata and retinoids. In this table, we see the compounds identified in the acacia flowers. In red, we see the ones that appear most abundant. Where we have the Raman spectroscopy obtained for the flowers and the principal components of the PCA with Raman, where a clear separation between sample can be observed. For the pod structures of the 7 flavonoids compounds identified with the acacia with LCMS analysis, where we can see the principal component analysis representation of a loading and score of all compounds identified by HPLC. On the pictures, we see the spectra obtained for the pounds in Raman and NIR with the respective PCA. In conclusions, the results demonstrate that acacia flowers and the potential as a source of flavonoids and phenolic compounds. This is the AL collaboration.
My name is Abdullah Al-Hamoud from Kuwait. I'm here to talk about the role of a project control to identify the project risk. Project control, it's mainly activities to monitor and managing the projects to achieve the success of the projects on time and within the budget. The main thing is here to avoid any risk can be happen during the project. Different projects has a different type of risk, which is technical risk and environmental risk, financial risk and legal risk. Those risks can be occur in any project. So the effective project control can there is as an element we can apply to monitor and eliminate the project's risk, such as risk identification, risk assessment, and risk response, and risk monitor and control. So first, in the first, we need to identify the risk. Which risk is occur? It's technical risk, or environmental risk, or financial or legal. Then we can assess that risk. We take that issues and we know which level it's that risk can be. So we take the event. We can use this table to identify the level of the risk, like high, if it's the likelihood of the risk can be high, and with the impact of that risk is very high. So that this issue is very critical to us. And if it's high and it's the impact is very high or low, we can identify the level of the risk and so on in this table. After that, we can make a response for the risk, response plan for the risk. Like if it's the risk, it's mandatory, or it will happen all the way. We cannot avoid it. So we can accept that risk. We deal with it, and we can move our project with that risk, and we try to deal it, or we can transfer the risk, or we can reduce the risk as much as we can to avoid any impact of our project, or we can reduce it as much as we can. So those elements, if we apply it of any risk, we can ensure our project can achieve to the success without any impact or delay or maybe budget impact even so. After we implementing all these items to the project, identifying the risk, we put the strategies for the project to respond or how to plan or how to deal with the risk. We need to monitor that risk to ensure that our plan meet the target or achieve our aim. So monitoring that risk, making the report, making risk review time to time to ensure the risk stay still in the same level, and we are the project moving smoothly without affecting from that risk. It is the more important element to do it. So risk monitor it's more important. Also, it can give us the stakeholders and the management can be confident of their project of the team of who is dealing with the project. So they are confident of the team and confident of the situation in the project, so they know what is going on the project. So the report and the monitoring the project, it's more important to give confidence of stakeholders and the management. In conclusion, applying project management or risk managing skills, it's more important, and it gives very benefit of the project. It will help the project to succeed, and it will help the project, mainly the big project. So it's help them to save money and save a time and save the human being as well if there is a issues or if your project dealing with the chemicals or very critical or risk project. This is my resources, and thank you very much for your time.
Outnumbered by the samples of the other classes, and in literature there are different techniques, and the most popular ones are syntactic minority oversampling techniques and its variants. And those techniques tries to rebalance the corpus in order to get the better classification result. And by the help of those algorithms, we could depict a balanced training data sets, and those data sets will increase the classification results. And we collected Turkish and English tweets by using Twitter API, and those tweets were related with COVID-19 pandemics period. And first of all, we apply some pre-processing techniques on our tweets, and we remove softwares, usernames, unnecessary URLs, and some HTML tags. And after that, we use Vader sentiment analysis library. And this library is a lexicon-based sentiment analysis library. And it divides the tweets into 3 categories. The tweets are labeled as positive, negative, and neural labels. And within our study, we just use positive and negative tweets. And we saw that those collections, those data sets are imbalanced data sets, which means, for example, in the positive class, there are so many tweets than in the negative class. And that's why, first of all, we want to apply the oversampling technique, so which names are smooth atomic links, borderline smooth, and support vector machine smooth, and k-means smooth algorithm. And we want to compare their performance results on Turkish and English tweets. And after applying those techniques, we got balanced classification data sets. And then we apply random forest, support vector machines, and logistic regression classification algorithms on those data sets. And before starting the algorithm, including January the 1st and January 31, 2022, we depict, as you can see from my screen, 16,552 tweets for Turkish language. And after the pre-processing techniques, we got 66,149 tweets, English tweets. And we have S measure means the majority number of the tweets in majority class, and S of mean means the number of the tweets in minority class. And as you can see from the screen, there is a imbalance ratio there, and it means both of the classes doesn't contain the same amount of tweets. And because of that, first of all, we want to, first of all, before passing the rebalance algorithms, first of all, we divided the tweets into two categories, as I said, the positive tweets and negative tweets, with the help of the Vader natural language toolkit. And after dividing the tweets into two categories by using the cloud, word cloud, we listed the most frequent words within the tweets. And as you can see, in English tweets, maybe you cannot understand the Turkish keywords, but generally in the negative tweets, that, vaccine, pandemic, virus, and similar keywords were the most frequent keywords. And similarly, in the Turkish tweets, you can see the similar words. And in the positive tweets, help, thank you, vaccine, support, and such kind of keywords will be seen. Those keywords were the most frequent keywords. And as I said, we have imbalanced data sets in our hands, and because of the and in order to balance them, we apply SMOT and its variants. And in SMOT algorithm, you can see from my screen, the blue dots represents the majority class examples, and the gray box spots represents minority class samples. And in SMOT algorithm, we choose a random data from the minority class.